everyone, this is 2.7 due on Tuesday, domain and range. So the first part is a multiple choice question. So if we think about what we did today in class, the domain is talking about the x values or the inputs. So in my graph, I want to look at what x values does this graph span. Well, first of all, let's look at our answer choices. Right away, I can eliminate answer choice 1 and answer choice 3 because it has the y's. Those are talking about range, not domain. So we can eliminate those two. So let's look at answer choice 2. It says 0 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 7. This is another way of saying 0 through 7. And answer choice 4 is just saying -2 through 4. So let's take a look. If I want to draw a line at where the first value starts, that x value is at 0, and it goes all the way over to the x value of 7. This would be the the domain. The domain is from 0 through 7. That is answer choice 2. Let's scroll down and take some notes. So, in this graph here, the graph is this sideways quadratic. To find the domain, I need to look at the leftmost value, draw a line here, and I go all the way to the rightmost value. And those numbers that it crosses is -2 through 2. So my domain will be -2 through 2. I'm going to use red for range. The range is starting from the lowest point. What is that y value? That y value is 1, all the way to the highest part of the graph, which crosses through the y value of 3. So the range is -1, this was a -1, through 3. Great. So interval notation is something that looks like the answer choices in the original question. So what we're going to do is to write interval notation. We always start with, let's go ahead and just write these boxes first. X or Y, bubble, box. So what goes in each of these bubbles is either a less than or a less than or equal to sign. So it's a symbol. It's less than for an open circle, and it's less than or equal to for a closed circle. That's what goes into these bubbles. And then in these boxes is the lowest number to the highest number on the right. And we choose either x or y based on whether we're talking about domain or the range. So for the domain, let's look at this. Our lowest number was -2. That was our lowest number. So I'm going to write those boxes, the bubbles, and I know I'm talking about x's because it's domain, so I'm going to write x. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and fill these in. So the lowest number is -2. The highest number is 2. And at -2, there were open circles. So we're going to use the open circle, less than sign, with no equal bar, until 2, where there's a closed circle. If it's shaded in, that means it's a closed circle, it's included. So we're going to put less than or equal to. For the range, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the boxes again. Bubble, bubble, box. This time, since we're talking about the range, we're talking about a y, so y should be in the middle. Let me make this x a purple. X was in the middle. So in this case, our lowest value is -1. And at -1, there was an open circle. Notice how there's an open circle here on the graph. That's going to be a less than symbol. 3 was the highest value. Fill that in. And at 3, if I look back on the graph, there was also an open circle. So this would be a less than symbol, not a less than or equal to. That is range. That is saying -1, less than y, less than 3. That is the range, -1 through 3. Let's scroll down for set notation. So set notation is we use parentheses, comma, parentheses. We use this when there are open circles. And then we use brackets, parentheses, bracket, used for closed circle. So what we're going to do is let's start by copying down the value. So I know it's -2, parentheses 2. It's just saying -2 through 2. At -2, there was an open circle. There's an open circle. So I'm going to make sure I put a parentheses for open circle. Okay. And at 2, let's look at 2, there was a closed circle, meaning the dot was shaded in. There was an actual point at 2. So in this case, I'm going to be using a bracket for closed circle. Okay? For range, if we look at -1 and 3, we had just said that both of those were open circles. Let me just draw this sketch here so we know. So that means we are using parentheses on both ends, and we're listing -1, 3. Parentheses indicating open circle. Great. Now go ahead and try the example on the bottom. Which multiple choice answer makes the most sense? Notice how we are talking about the range. Great. I hope you were able to eliminate answer choice 1 and 4, because when we talk about range, we're talking about y values. Okay? So let's look. If we're looking at the range, I'm looking at the lowest y value that it goes, down here, to the highest y value it goes. It crosses through, down here, the y value of -2, and it crosses through up here, the y value of 5. So our only answer choice that makes sense would be this one here, -2, less than or equal to y, less than or equal to 5. -2, this also means -2 through 5.